Hello there everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Nicolette Electra. Hello there, welcome. Today I thought I would jump in and talk about a subject that I am extremely passionate about, that I have brought up many times to friends, family, people that I meet, etc. And it is the importance of finding a job in the field that you want to go into, right? I think a lot of times I see a lot of people that I know or people that I come across that say, hey, I want to go and become a singer, example. But yet they work at a restaurant. Or, hey, I want to become a photographer, but again, they're working in retail. Whatever the case might be. And while having jobs that aren't in your field are important, because in a way you got to find a way to make money, if there's anything that I can sit and stress, it's finding a job in that field. So today we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about a few jobs that I got in the photography field, a little bit about what they taught me, and again, why it's important to find those jobs to help you in your career path and whatever career path that might be. So if that is something that interests you, please keep on watching. So when it comes to photography, I've had this conversation many times on this channel. I have worked for a lot of different companies. The first one that I always talk about is the event photography company, specifically weddings. Not going to go into that. I've already talked about that many times as far as what I learned working with them. But I did have other photography jobs that I had throughout the years that were equally as important, that taught me a lot of important things in the photography space. Two jobs that I had both dealt with children. One was I was a photographer for I don't know how to describe it. I guess the companies that go out to high schools, junior highs, elementary schools, and take class portraits, individual portraits. I worked for one of those companies, and that company was, wow. I only worked for them for about 6 months, but it taught me so much. So when it comes to people and taking pictures of people don't really know how to take photos, especially kids, right? So you have to learn how to speak working in that environment. You have to learn how to describe to these kids how to pose and how to move. Specifically in this job, they did not allow us to touch kids. So something that, you might be used to and saying, excuse me, ma'am, move your neck this way. Yeah, move that. No, you couldn't do that. You had to learn a way to communicate to the kids and say, okay, turn your head this way. All right, bring your chin down. Okay, move your shoulders. All right. So for that job, it was something that I didn't know I needed to learn, but it was something that I learned that I thought was super important in my career. Directing people is a big part of my job. Of course, not the biggest part of my job, but it is a big part of my job. And through working with this company, it did teach me how to direct people. This company also did teach me how to use strobes, and I thought that that was another thing that was super important when it comes to studio lighting and studio setups. The next job that I did get in the photography space was, again, like I said, with kids. I worked as a sports photographer, and I would take pictures of the kids in their little baseball bat, a little bit of a football, whatever they would have, on a backdrop on the field. And I did this for a few years. It was more so of a weekend job, paid pretty well. And with this job as well, it taught me how to communicate with kids, but in a different way. What I found was shooting in sports photography, you kind of get all sorts of ages. You get kids who are like 3 years old, adorable, right? But it was hard to direct them sometimes. Especially in this sort of environment, they kind of would get nervous sometimes. Sometimes they'd be nervous because they weren't around their parents. Sometimes they'd be nervous because they're like, oh my God, I don't know this person. I'm going in this tent, going to take this picture. I don't know. And with this company, specifically with the owner, I was really taught how to communicate to kids and certain things that were super important, such as getting down, crouching down, getting to their level, making a few jokes, making a funny face to kind of gain their trust. And then from there, taking the pictures that were the most authentic. 9 times out of 10, you'd get a parent who would come in, they would be flustered from the day, they would come in yelling at their kid, telling them, hey, you gotta take this picture, yada, yada. The kids would just get upset. But we as photographers would jump in and just kind of, hey, try and calm down the kid, crack a few jokes. What's your name? How tall are you? Are you bigger than me? Certain things like that. And again, through this job, I learned how to do that. And working in my own professional space moving forward, I was able to now have a better time photographing kids. I don't know if I would have known those tactics early on or now, honestly, if I didn't have that job. The next photography job that I was able to pick up over the years was a job photographing for Uber Eats, DoorDash, things of that sort. This one was a little bit different. This one was not something that taught me per se talking to people, but more so when it came to styling. This was something that I've actually done for a few years, and it's been pretty fun. One, you get free food most of the time, which is, hey, that's not too bad. But two, like I said, it taught me how to style, right? When it comes to photographing food, when it comes to photographing still life, it's important to place different plates and different items in a way that looks appealing to the eye. You can't sit there and just photograph like 3 plates on a table and say, wow, there it is. You have to add different elements to it. You have to be able to move. You have to be able to position things in a way that, like I said, looks appealing. It basically taught me how to play a game of Tetris and moving these items to make them look appealing. These were 3 jobs that I had in the photography space that super duper important in my career in the long term. Now, I know you might be thinking, okay, were these their only jobs? Did you have any other jobs? Absolutely. In this time frame, I worked for a marketing agency. I worked for an event venue. I worked for a lot of different things also within this time period. But again, these were small jobs that supplemented my income. The sports photography one, like I said, was only weekends. Still had a day job during the week, but still made it a thing to learn something new on the weekend by having this job. When I did the student portraits in schools, that one was more so my full-time job. Would do some side gigs on the weekends. And then when it came to the restaurant photography, again, it was a part-time sort of thing. So when I say it's important to have a job in your field, I don't think that, hey, you need to drop everything and find only a job that works in there. But if you can find a job that supplements your income or becomes your main time income that is in the field that you are striving to be in, it's going to be your best bet. You're going to learn things that you didn't know you needed to know. And it's honestly going to further your career at a faster pace. I've said this many times, you don't know what you don't know. And working through these jobs, I didn't know that I didn't know how to communicate to kids. I didn't know that I didn't know how to place food in a certain way that looked appealing. That, of course, wasn't only for food, but also could translate to still life, like product photography and so on and so forth. So that's one big word of advice. If you can find a job that's in your field, please do so. Even if it's part-time or full-time, doesn't matter. But anything that you want to do, you're going to learn things that you didn't know by having these jobs. And to me, it was the most important thing that I could ever have done in my career. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and or like button, or just like. If you didn't like it, hey, that's on you. And yeah, we'll be back with another video here soon. Thank you guys so much again. And again, if there's anything that you guys want to hear me talk about or discuss, please go ahead and write it in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much again. We'll see you on the next video. See ya.